My husband's snoring is ruining our marriage. My husband snores like a freight train. For 3 difficult years, I have not got a decent night's sleep. It doesn't matter what I tried. Earplugs, melatonin, nothing helped. When I suggested we sleep in different rooms, my husband refused to even consider it. Married couples are supposed to sleep in the same bed. Arguing with my husband was like trying to knock down a brick wall using your head as a battering ram. He didn't care that I could barely function at work or that I was nodding off in traffic. He only cared about his traditional view of marriage. Husbands and wives sleep together, even when they snore. I wanted to rip my hair out. At the advice of a friend, I tricked my husband into participating in a sleep study, and the doctor told us what I had suspected for years. My husband had severe sleep apnea, which meant as long as my husband used a CPAP machine, his snoring would stop. I could finally get a decent night's sleep. The mask is uncomfortable. I'm not sleeping with that on. Jesus fucking Christ. I reminded him that if he didn't, then his risk of having a stroke would skyrocket. Like I care, I mentioned that it was possible he could literally die. I'll die happy in my sleep. I finally snapped and said I would divorce him if he refused. And do you know what he said? I'd never let you do that. I packed my things to spend the night at my mother's and gave him an ultimatum. Wear the CPAP or lose me. He could take the night to think it over. I returned the next morning after a restless night of sleep. I've taken steps to prevent our divorce. I asked my husband if that meant he decided to wear the CPAP. Of course not. Yesterday, after I left for my mother's, he drained our joint bank account and put the money into a new account that only he could access. Unless you want to be homeless, you're stuck with me. I was being held hostage in our marriage. That night, my husband begrudgingly put on the CPAP mask to appease me for giving him the silent treatment. Just for tonight, and if I don't like it, I'm throwing it away. I knew he was going to throw it away regardless. Fortunately, he fell asleep fast and hard thanks to the CPAP. I quietly took out the CPAP's reservoir and poured out the distilled water. Then, I filled up the reservoir halfway with bleach and halfway with ammonia. I shook it up and put it back in the machine. Once my husband stopped convulsing, I emptied the reservoir and placed it outside in our garbage can. In the morning, after the garbage truck had come, I'd call for an ambulance. I'd tell them he must have stopped breathing in his sleep. I laid down in bed and got the best night's sleep of my life.